Hi, I'm Matthew William Robinson, Artistic Director of ÄÄFinMalta National Dance Company. We are thrilled to share Dance Dialogues, a brand new podcast series made on the occasion of our 10th anniversary celebrations. In each episode, I'll be sitting down with the incredible dancers and creatives of ÄÄFinMalta to chat about all things company life. We'll dive into the company's history, explore how it's evolved, and talk about the artistry that shapes every performance. This isn't just about celebrating a decade of achievements. It's a chance to reflect on how far we've come, what we've learned along the way, and to dream about what's next for both the company and the talented artists who bring it all to life. Today, I'm speaking to Pearl and Lotte. Both have been company dancers with ÄÄFinMalta since 2021. They've performed a wide and diverse repertoire over the past 4 seasons and have worked with 2 artistic directors. I'm going to ask, first of all, Lotte, can you tell me or tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 25 and I originally come from the Netherlands, where I studied dance from a young age, and then I did an internship at a company there, and then I moved here to Malta to join this company. That's why I moved here. I don't know if there's anything else about myself that I should share. I don't know.
I'm sure the questions we'll ask will kind of reveal more things. But Pearl, you're from Malta. Could you tell us a bit about what drew you to be here in this company? What drew you to ÄÄFinMalta?
Hi, I'm Pearl. I'm 22 and I've been dancing since I was really young. Of course, since we have a national company, I've always wanted to be a part of it. I joined originally as an apprentice and then continued on as a full-time dancer till today.
Mm-hmm. And Lotte, what coming from outside of Malta, what drew you to ÄÄFinMalta as a company?
In all honesty, I think it was a bit of a leap of faith, because before coming here, I wasn't really sure what I was getting into, which I think is something that a lot of dancers experience. That you come from a school, you prepare yourself to go into this thing that is a professional career or company, and then when I got offered a position here, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. It's like actually quite far from home, but it's my dream to dance in a repertoire company. And then being here for so many years, my love grew more and more for this company. And speaking with more of my friends that are dancing at other places, I appreciate even more what we have right here, which is a place where I really feel that colleagues are supporting each other a lot. And even though it's a small island, there's a lot of different choreographers coming in. So it's really a place of growth, I feel.
Nice. And I mean, Pearl, as we said, you were from Malta. Lotte, you came to Malta. I've just arrived in Malta a few months ago, and I'm taking in my first impressions of the place. But Lotte, you've obviously decided to call this place home.
Yeah.
And what is it that Malta offers you as a place?
As a place, calm. Even though I know a lot of Maltese people don't say this, but coming from a place where everything is so structured, and I had a constant feeling that everything always has to be perfect, from what time you arrive to meet someone to how you do certain things. Here, I felt there was a way more of a feeling of going with the flow. There's amazing spots to go hiking and walking. And that sense of rest with myself that I found here is something that I didn't find in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm. And Pearl, this is your home, so what do you value about this place? I mean, that's a big question, but
I mean, I love that we can see the sea from our terrace. I guess I take my country a bit for granted because I'm from here, but then listening to what Lotte has to say and to what my other colleagues have to say about this place, it really brings me a sense of, oh yeah, this country is a really beautiful place for people to come to and work here. So Yeah, it's also nice to hear what other people have to say about Malta.
It's interesting that, we, as a repertory company, I see us as a place of dialogue between, especially as a national repertory company, a place of dialogue between the national and the international, the here and elsewhere, and we embody that within ourselves, within the company. We're a group of people that some are of Malta and some are of elsewhere, and that's the same with the choreographers we work with. Some are of Malta and some are of elsewhere, and also in the audiences we meet. We perform here nationally, we perform here internationally, and we create that dialogue that allows us to have a reflection on, in a way, what you were just both talking about. It gives you a reflection on where you're from, whether that's from elsewhere or from here, whether that's through our work. And I feel like that's what we offer an audience as well. It's a reflection on a world that we're all living in the same world, but based on who we are, we all experience it very differently.
Yeah.
So thinking about working in a repertory company, what would you say are the challenges?
I mean, I guess different choreographers come in with their own particular way of moving, their own physicality that they want to be brought out of us dancers. So, of course, through every process, we need to put ourselves through sort of embodying what they want specifically, which can be like literally from black to white between one piece and another. So I guess that's the biggest challenge, is to really be a diverse dancer, to be able to tackle each and every physicality and way of moving depending on what we're doing at the moment.
I think it really shows in our work, literally the last 2 weeks, where we went from Sita, who is such, for me, a bit of an urban mover, like really animalistic and really quite rough. And now we're working with Thick and Tight, where I feel I need to bring out a sense of elegance, which whenever, like, it was always the comment from Sita on me, like, don't be too pretty in a sense. Whereas now working with Thick and Tight, I feel I need to tap into that side even more. So I think that really shows the broadness of what it is to be a contemporary dancer. That the spectrum of contemporary dance is so wide, and everyone comes with their own little elements, which I love about contemporary dance, that you can bring everything into the mix. But people do, and it like throws you a bit around sometimes.
I think what's exciting, watching you all navigate that roller coaster in a way, is when I also see you being able to like swing from here to there, but then I also love when I see that actually at the centre of that is still you. There's still this the personality, the person at the centre of it, and that I'm seeing that same person navigate different things, and in a way that feels metaphorical, that feels like life. We're all like having to navigate different moments in our life, but we're still the same person. And so it's really that for me is when I'm thinking about you all as dancers, and when I'm thinking about the dancers even that I want us to be working with here in the company, it's about people who can slide into these different vocabularies, but at the same time hold on to a real sense of themselves. This is who I am. And that's what excites me when I see you on stage, because I don't lose you. I see you all, but I see you tackling these new worlds that people offer you. Pearl, you joined as an apprentice, you said. My notes say in 2020. Is that right? Joining as an apprentice. How old were you then when you joined?
I was 18.
Okay, wow. So as an apprentice, how do you think that experience contributed to your pathway, your career, I guess?
Well, I guess it was the main stepping stone for me to be in a national company. I guess it taught me a lot because, of course, you get told many things, but you never truly experience what it is to be in a company. So that year as an apprentice was really an eye-opener, because I was sort of thrown into company life and what it means to be a company dancer and the responsibilities you have, not only as a dancer but also as a colleague, how a company functions and how you can help a company function. It was really like a main step, which I think like threw me then into the world.
I guess I started my career as an apprentice, and did you say that as well, Lotte? Yeah. I think sometimes my experience anyway was that there were things I thought I knew, and then the reality showed me the reality. And you start to, that's not just about working in a company, because every company is different, so every context is going to require different things of you, but I think it taught me personally a lot about myself and where I thought, where I guess my gaps were, what was missing in what I knew. And sometimes you only know that once you start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's theory and then there's practice.
Yeah.
Thinking of maybe continuing on this thought around challenge, for both of you, maybe starting with you, Lotte, could you think of a work or a creative process that really challenged you to grow as an artist?
Honestly, all of them, I feel, make me grow. One that I feel made me grow as a group as well was the work with Emmanuel Gatt, the work Utopia, because he really relies on us taking responsibility for decisions that we take, and even if it's the wrong one, to go with it. And I'm a very big perfectionist, so I was always scared of not doing something perfect. And in that process, I really felt that to go with whatever decision that you make, even if it's not the right one, and to take responsibility for it and to make something out of it, it gave me a really clear sense of what it is that I am doing right there in the moment. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree with Lotte. That was also like a really fruitful process, which then you can see on stage how it's being decided in the moment. Another one I would mention is Weaving Chaos, for me personally, by Tanya Carvalho. I think it was the first time that we were allowed and almost encouraged to let any emotion, any feeling, any anger, any desperation be completely like shown on stage without any filter. I guess something that I've struggled with is always sort of putting on, a dancer mode once you're on stage. But that piece led you to a point where it was truly yourself struggling to continue at that moment. So I feel like that really led me onto a path which I had never experienced before on stage.
In both those examples, I hear something about process that encourages or allows you to embrace something and something personal, even if that's going through a very clear lens of someone else's language or construction or idea. It's something about like embracing your choices, or embracing, as you're talking there, about emotion, and that feels like something to do with there being a personal aspect that you are able to invest in as individuals beyond the embodiment of someone else's idea. And that's really interesting, because it draws back to that point I guess I was making about repertory companies, like embodying lots of different things, but at the core of it, it's people. It's you as people. So with all of that, all of the challenge that you face, and which we've talked a lot about growth. What are the things you love about being in a repertory company? Like, what does that day to day, the challenges, the new information, what is it that that you love about being here day in, day out?
Many things.
In a way, but it depends a lot on the piece. But I can really get lost in a work and in a world that work is kind of creating. Like, I don't know, at some point I had this, like, we were doing one piece and I was like thinking about what it meant for me to do the work. And I was like, it's almost like, you know, when you're watching a movie or you're reading a book, you're like, oh, I wish I can be in that world. And sometimes when I'm on stage, that's kind of what I feel like. We're creating this imaginary world, and for that 30 minutes of time or 1 hour of time, we are living in that world, not as a character, but really still again as my personal self that is navigating that landscape.
I mean, also being a repertoire company, we get to do so many things in one season, so it's also nice to jump from one thing to another, like getting a taste of so many things in the same month almost. Like, we've done so many things since January already, so
yeah. I mean, one of the things, I don't remember who mentioned it, but certainly something I feel is I've been in repertory companies since I was 20. So like, it's been a big, whether that in whatever role, whether it's a dancer, rehearsal director, and artistic director. And the thing that I love is the sense of family, the sense of the colleagues and the people that you come together. You know, every day you're going to come in and those people are going to be there. And the foundation that offers us all as artists or whatever work we're doing to elevate, to grow, because you trust that thing is there to hold you. There's the structure of a company with creative process, rehearsal, touring, performance, all of that, and the structures that hold you. But then there's also the people. And I wondered if you had any reflection on that.
Yeah, I mean, as Lotte said at the beginning, I feel like we're so supportive of one another. So it's really a safe space for us to come in every day and sort of perfect our craft and go through the creative process together. And yeah, it's fun also. Like, these 2 weeks with Thick and Tight have been so nice and fun, and we're exploring so much together. Yeah, it's nice to have such an environment created between us.
I think it builds a sense of trust as well. Like, when you're in front of a group of new people, it's really hard to do something that is maybe a bit scary. But in this room, in this company, I really feel that they will not judge me if I do something weird or wrong. So I have a bit more, I dare to do a bit more, to experiment a bit more.
Nice. All of this obviously takes a lot of your energy, your time. How do you look after yourselves?
I have a very strict routine. Yeah, I mean, I have a body that is not very easy to be a dancer. So I really take a lot of care. Like, I start my morning with yoga every day, because it really gives me the chance to feel my body, know where it is today, stretch it out, open it up, because I'm stiff, so stiff in the morning. And then, there's the whole day of rehearsals, and then after rehearsals, at the end of the day, I again take care to stretch out every single day, and also build strength, build endurance, because I feel that I need that for the rehearsals and the people that are coming in. And I think it depends a bit on the process as well. Like, I think working up towards a performance, I notice, because that's usually a 1 month time, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, that I feel in the creative process, in the beginning of the process, I really focus more on building strength, building endurance by like I run, I do some like Pilates, things like this. And when the closer that we get to the shows, I focus more on recovering, stretching out, getting my sports massages, seeing physios, stuff like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our body is our main tool. That's all we have really in our work every day. So yeah, as Lotte is saying, I guess we really take care of really listening to what it's telling us, and what needs to be done according to the process that we're going through. Because of course our body adapts differently to every single creation that we're doing.
Yeah, I guess also, mentally working in this way, it's pretty relentless, and so switching off, I guess, is important. Disconnecting is really important. I mean, I know for myself, that can be really hard. I think that can be really hard in any job to disconnect. But I guess as well, when we're working in something where it's really your passion, like your vocation, as well as your job, and so sometimes that separation can be quite hard to find, because we all started by this being, and hopefully still is, the thing that we love doing. But it's also your job, and so there's a moment where you have to I know for myself, especially when I was dancing, I used to have this thing of getting home, and I would get to my front door, and I would close the front door, and once I'd closed the front door, that was that was done. I wasn't working anymore. And whether I then danced or did yoga or did whatever I needed to do, that was mine, not my job. And that separation, I think it's something I really encourage people to find how to let go, and also take care of your mind, because you're asked a lot. Yeah. There's a lot that is asked of you, especially when it comes to creative process. The amount of information you're processing, whether that's physical information, which of course is still mental information, or whether you're being asked to produce material, create, generate ideas, think of memory, or think of, imagine. It all takes a lot of mental energy. So finding time to do other things. Yeah. And I guess that's my last question, which is, what else do you do? What are your passions?
I mean, I guess I love to spend time in the sun most of the time, even though I don't tan at all. But I guess back to what you were saying is, because apart from being colleagues, we're also friends. So when we meet outside of work, we try not to talk about work, because we want to disconnect from the week that we just had. But also, since it's our passion, we end up going there sometimes. But I think it's important that we keep saying, no, let's change
the subject. Yeah, I think we sometimes even say okay, guys, tonight we're not talking about work. Yeah. And that's sometimes very helpful. And sometimes you also need to talk about it to get it off your chest, some things. And coming back to why Malta, it's a very great place to detach, because you can go out into the sun, like Pearl said. Like here, we walk out in our building to the terrace, and there is an amazing view over the sea. And for me, always connecting with nature is how I detach from anything in my life. And I feel in Malta here, it's more accessible than it was back home.
Thank you both.
Thank you.